On June 5th, 2025, the 9th installment of the Mario Kart series finally landed, with Mario Kart World on the Nintendo Switch 2. Naturally, each game is going to be bigger and better than the last, but you can't forget the games of the past that paved the way for the games of today. So let's go back to one of the greats, a real fun entry, Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube. Maybe we'll even see some things from this old game that show up in the present day. It took 4,025 days for Mario Kart 8 to run its course and be graced with a proper sequel. Or to put it a more tangible way, 11 years and 1 week. Unless you're watching in the far-off future, it's just too soon to properly review MK Dub in any meaningful way. The game has so much to explore, and I'm certain most reviews will land in the 80 to 100% range anyway. Just the first few hours have been great. And much like Mario Kart 8 before it, all the characters and tracks have me thinking back to those memories I've made with older games in the series. I've talked about Mario Kart 64 already, and while I still stand by my statements about that game, the follow-up, Mario Kart Double Dash, made some great improvements to the formula. Some elements are still retained in 8 and World, while the rest died out as the series evolved. Oh, and what did I say about Mario Kart 64? Well, you'll have to go watch that video later to find out. It's all good though. Unlike the original Super Mario Kart and 64, Double Dash came at the midlife point of the Nintendo GameCube, November 2003. There were several challenges in getting the game off the ground. Super Mario Kart and 64 had basically started its own genre. Everyone was in on the kart racer bandwagon. Crash Team Racing, Chocobo Racing, Sonic R, and the R probably stood for racing, Atari Karts, and even Nintendo themselves. Well, actually Rare, copied the Mario Kart 64 template with Diddy Kong Racing. Some say that one was even better, but that's a topic for another day. It took time to deliver a new Mario Kart. It couldn't just be thrown together in the face of so much competition, and the standards the Big N set for themselves already. Development began alongside the GameCube and its early games. The core team was led by 2 producers, Tadashi Sugiyama, who had worked on Super Mario Kart and 64, and Shinya Takahashi, who had a hand in several games going back to the late 80s. Kiyoshi Mizuki was drafted as director. He was a bit greener, having previously worked on character designs for Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion. Shigeru Miyamoto served as lead producer, like he had for so many other games. The producer's role can often be hands-off, only checking in to veto ideas or letting things continue, while offering some guidance. Miyamoto would work on several games, all of which we know very well: Pikmin, Smash Bros. Melee, Super Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, all of which came to pass while overseeing the next Mario Kart. Looking back on the GameCube, it felt like the talk of a TikTok strategy. The N64 and the others of that era finally made 3D games enjoyable, while the GameCube refined those with great graphics and dual analog, leaving the next huge leap forward, motion controls and online play, to the Wii. But the GameCube did have a lot going for it that delivered some great games. Nintendo finally embraced optical media. Yahoo! The GameCube discs could hold 1.46 gigabytes of data, over 20 times the maximum N64 cartridge, 64 megabytes. Mario Kart 64 weighed in at only 8 megabytes. Absolutely microscopic when compared to a full GameCube disc. With all that extra space came many ideas on how to use it all. One was to obviously add more characters. Both Super Mario Kart and 64 had only 8 racers. And come on, Mario and Luigi were a given, so there really wasn't that much variety. Mario Kart on GameCube would feature 20 racers. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Yoshi, Birdo, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Bowser, Bowser Jr., Wario, Waluigi, Toad, Toadette, Koopa Troopa, Paratroopa, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Petey Piranha, and King Boo. Some were available from the start, but a few were unlockable. Like Toad. I thought he was pretty high up on the ladder. With so many characters, the idea of using a second in a sidecar was implemented. This was later refined to that character sitting in the back seat. Up front is the main driver. The backseat character has a special set of items he or she can use. Mario and Luigi have fireballs. The Kongs, bananas. Yoshi and Birdo, eggs. The Toads, mushrooms. You can have 190 different character combinations. Using the Z button also switches positions of these 2 characters. Mixing them up can lead to all sorts of different strategies to finish first and fast, or just make a lot of trouble on the raceway. Add in the choice of 50, 100, and 150cc speeds, and the unlockable mirrored tracks, and who knows if there even is a best pairing. But heavy racers can't use lighter karts, even though that would be funny. One controversial change, the hop was gone. Maybe two riders just made the karts too heavy to bounce around. But with two racers came double item boxes, and having two items on hand to make up for that loss. The title Double Dash was chosen to emphasize that. Double the racers, double the fun. Now, with the team system in place, a 4-player game could be a traditional quarter-screen affair, or split-screen, with 2 players on each team. Thankfully, the staff made sure that both controllers had to have the Z button pressed at the same time to switch positions. Can you imagine if it didn't? You'd still hear echoes of, "Mom, he's not playing fair," repeating throughout the world 22 years later. Then there's the battle mode, which includes the returning balloon battle. Bomb Blast, where bombs are the only item. Can anyone hold anything else? Guess not. But as for bombs, each character can hold 5 of them. Then there's Shine Thief, kind of like Capture the Flag, only with shines from Super Mario Sunshine. You can also play in Luigi's Mansion and on top of a giant GameCube. The same 4 courses by 4 cup setup from 64 was carried over. Mushroom, Flower, Star, and Special. Tracks like Daisy Cruiser and Baby Park give the new additions to the roster a place to feel like home. Luigi Circuit takes over as the standard introductory course this time. Dry Desert and Sherbert Land take us out into the elements. Bowser, Wario, and Waluigi have courses on the darker side. And of course, the ever-popular Rainbow Road, with its ever-impressive, colorful visuals. The music in Double Dash is great. The sounds are still arranged and performed on synthesizers, but moves further away from the style of older games. It helps get the mood right. There's tense drumming and chanting in Bowser's Castle. Baby Park is made just a bit crazier with its almost third-wave ska, horns, and backbeat. Mushroom City gives off a feeling of a busy, late-night news bulletin. Great for a city that never sleeps. Don't forget more voice samples and sound effects that are much clearer.
Brutal!
The GameCube also fixed the one area where Mario Kart 64 lagged. Double Dash character designs were fully polygonal. With more characters on screen and more movement, it was very fluid and lifelike. A huge step up from 64, where the characters were rendered models that didn't move very much, but at the time was the best they could do. None of it was possible without the space an optical disc provided, as well as the processing power the GameCube had under the hood. There was one more feature unique to Double Dash. In 2002, the GameCube went online with the modem adapter and broadband adapter accessories. Only a handful of games, mainly the Phantasy Star Online series, ever used these. But with Mario Kart Double Dash, the broadband adapter could be used to connect up to 8 GameCubes together, for 16 players in all. It's not a feature that's well remembered today due to the impracticality of such a setup, though this certainly set the stage for online play later, and the massive local and online multiplayer setups in Mario Kart World.
スピードとは男のロマン。
いらっしゃいませ。
レースとは俺の生き様。
お客様。お客様。お客様。
任天堂ゲームキューブマリオカートダブルダッシュ。
ホットマリオ。
The first public mention of Double Dash came at E3 2001. There wasn't much to say at the time. The GameCube wasn't even available yet. Nintendo spent most of the presentation mapping out their plans for the GameCube and listing all the cool things it could do. Some of the more finished games showed off a lot of gameplay, but there was just enough footage to tell fans that Mario Kart will be on the GameCube someday. 2 years later, at E303, a much more detailed demo was shown off to great enthusiasm. Nearly finished builds of the game were shown off and playable. The clear jump in quality from Mario Kart 64 could easily be seen, and the Team Racer aspect got a huge reaction. By the summer of 2003, Double Dash had been shown off at many events around the world, with Nintendo announcing a worldwide release for November, just in time for the Christmas season, and coinciding with some grim news. The same week that Double Dash went on sale, Nintendo posted its first financial losses since entering the gaming industry. While there is no correlation between not having Mario Kart for sale and Nintendo losing money, the news was shocking, and the timing striking. Nintendo's infamous IV drip release schedule had always worked. One marquee game at a time, spaced out just enough for you to save up, beat the last one, and line up for the next one. Money in hand, all over again. For anyone who missed something the first time around, games were reissued as lower-priced Player's Choice titles. In the GameCube era, things were a little different. The GameCube was trailing far behind the PlayStation 2. The Xbox was also outselling the GameCube. By November 2003, there were only about 10 million GameCubes sold worldwide. Sure, each of Nintendo's games had high sell-through rates, but that install base was only so big, and could only get so much bigger based on what future games are worth the investment to develop for such small returns, as the countdown clock to the next generation runs in the background. Mario Kart Double Dash was released to very positive reviews. EGM magazine rated the game half a point away from perfect, saying that whether you're 12 or 42, the day you get the game will feel like Christmas morning. Double Dash should be an instant purchase and is one of the greatest multiplayer games of all time. GamePro issued a score of 18 out of 20. This is sometime after the magazine rehabbed its kid-friendly image and stopped giving out multiple perfect scores in each issue. The review states Double Dash remains fast and furious, and the simple controls do a masterful job of literally keeping you on track. That a second character actually adds a little more personality to the standard Mario Kart visuals, while wrapping things up with what we already know. Double Dash works a winning formula. Fans everywhere know exactly what to expect, and that's a rip-roaring good time. There was one outlier, however. Edge magazine gave Double Dash a 5 out of 10 back in 2003. The review called the game average and redundant, and that Mario Kart was no longer a racing game. The outfit later recanted some of its words, but stood by the belief that Mario Kart was not a realistic racer. Isn't that why we like it? With a bleak financial outlook going into 2004, Mario Kart Double Dash reversed Nintendo's short-term fortunes. The game sold 1 million copies by the end of 2003, the fastest of any GameCube game yet, or ever. The fourth quarter of 2003, anchored by Double Dash, was one of the best the GameCube saw, with 3.5 million cubes sold worldwide. Overall, Double Dash would sell 6.8 million copies and become the second best-selling GameCube game of all time, just under Smash Bros. At 7.4 million, which sold for 2 years longer. The GameCube was replaced by the Wii in 2006. Along with the DS, a new era had begun, where the Big N was competitive, profitable, and, dare I say, relevant once more. Thanks to backwards compatibility, Double Dash was fully playable on the Wii with the original GameCube controllers, adding a late-in-life boost for those whose gaming life began with Wii Sports, but wanted to put those built-in GameCube ports to good use. The series continued with Mario Kart DS and Wii in 2005 and 2008. The dual character aspect was dropped. The hop returned. Double Dash would live on, with karts and characters that were introduced in 2003 becoming mainstays of later games. 12 of the 16 courses appeared in later installments. The only ones that haven't are Wario Coliseum, Mushroom City, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Dry Desert, Sherbert Land, Yoshi's Circuit, Baby Park, Waluigi Stadium, Daisy Cruiser, Luigi's Mansion, and the elusive DK Mountain made a reappearance. As for when the full, proper Mario Kart Double Dash comes to Nintendo GameCube Classics, what am I, the amazing Criswell? It's not available on June 5th, but I would have to expect that after the initial fervor of the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World dies down, Double Dash will appear on the service. So, I predict that Double Dash will arrive on the Switch 2 on November 7th, 2025. Let's see if I really am the great Criswell after all.
Tag Team, or else. Mario Kart Double Dash. Drive, throw stuff, switch. Only for Nintendo GameCube. Literally for everyone.
I think when it's all said and done, Mario Kart World will be remembered as a giant leap forward, thanks to its massive multiplayer races and open world design. I expect that both will continue as the foundation of future games. Just for fun, I made a breakdown comparing the GameCube Ultimate Rig and the Switch 2 Ultimate Rig, as well as how much that would set you back in 03 and 25. To get the maximum number of players on Double Dash, 16 locally, you need 8 GameCubes, 8 copies of Double Dash, 8 TV sets, 16 controllers, 8 broadband adapters, 8 Ethernet cables, and 1 hub. You might also need memory cards, surge protectors, extension cords, and of course, Dad's free electricity. But let's just leave those out. In 2003, the GameCube cost $99.99. Double Dash was $49.99. A 13-inch TV was $79.99 at Best Buy. Controllers, $19.99. Wow, that cheap? Seriously, what happened? Broadband adapters were $34.99. Cables, I guess, were about $5.99. And a hub, $49.99. Let's just say. Add it all up and the total comes to $799.92 for the cubes, $399.92 for the games, $639.92 for the TVs, $159.92 for the controllers. You don't need to buy 16, just 8. $279.92 for the adapters, $47.92 for cables, and easy math, $49.99 for the hub. That comes to a grand total of $2,377.51, not including tax, because just like Yoshi, I should be tax exempt. The Mario Kart World Bundle cost $499.99 US. And that's all you need. No TVs, no cables, no mess. 8 of those will set you back $3,999.92. And if you take the 2003 prices and adjust them for inflation, it comes to $4,015.61. Hey, one more thing. In Japan, there was a contest for the fastest times. Without online, you had to write down a 16-digit code and snail mail that to Nintendo. But how? Press LRLRXYXYZ after any time trial. Try it yourself. It works in any region.